On the market update, we're gonna give you some ideas, some of the best cities to live in Texas. We have some questionnaires that came in this week, and we want to just talk about where we would recommend living. And if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. Thanks again for tuning in. And if you want to be mentioned on the next Texas Tuesday, which will be 9:30 Central Standard Time, and you can watch it all day if that's a little too early for you. We will mention your questionnaire, so fill that out. It's in the link below. So thank you. All right, let's get started. First, we're going to talk about a brief market update. So we love to get together every Tuesday. We have a meeting, share what's happening in the market. Is now a good time to buy a home, or is it not? And let's talk about that. What are we sensing in the market? Like, for instance, when I list a home, I've listed a couple of homes this past week, and we did get multiple offers, but it wasn't like 20 offers, right? Yeah. And so are y'all sensing similar?
I think it's definitely slowing down a little bit here. We're expecting to see it slow down in that July-August timeframe normally. Is it going to go back up? I'm not entirely sure, but right now is a great time to buy because we are seeing homes that are sitting on the market a little bit longer, not running into multiple offer situations. And if you guys are looking for VA loans or FHA loans, right now is the time where sellers are going to accept anything.
I noticed on some of my listings that FHA actually had a chance where before they didn't. And so it was conventional or cash only. So this is now, there is a window of opportunity in August to purchase. Now September and October do typically start to pick up a little bit more. And then, because they're trying to move in before the holidays.
If you have a house to sell, this could be a good time because you can probably get a contract with a contingency that definitely would have not been possible a few months ago. So
that is true. That is true.
Absolutely.
So we kind of feel a sense of relief that it's not as hot as it was, even as agents, because that gives our clients more opportunity. Now, the question is, do you think it's going to tank?
Here's my take on tanking. I don't think that, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's going to necessarily tank. We have so many job opportunities and new corporations, new companies that are moving into this area that are sustaining that market. Where, yes, I do think that we'll have that nice slowdown, and we are in that slowdown phase where we're just not completely crazed and going completely for our minds trying to find a home. But will it tank? I don't necessarily see it tanking. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So what happens if it does tank?
I think like what Kay was saying is just nobody can ever predict what the market is going to do and shouldn't predict what the market is going to do. But for sure what we can always rely on is historical data. So when we go back and see the trends, one thing we know for sure that the Dallas-Fort Worth, specifically in Texas in general, it's always been probably one of your best bet or safe investment, both in real estate and other things as well. But because of like the job opportunity, the trend of people moving here, and the cost of living, and our fiscal policy, there's a lot of things going on for Texas. So even when other places around the country were really struggling, our pullbacks are generally much smaller, and sometimes you just don't even feel a pullback. It's just like moving sideways, where you just have to be patient. So the question will be more like your timeline. If you have to sell the house in a year or two, then maybe be a little bit more cautious. If you know you're going to be here at least for like 3 to 5 years, then you probably have nothing to worry about. And but that's kind of the approach that I would take right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you are buying a property long term, it's always a good time to buy, because I wish that I would have purchased a home or multiple or a gazillion homes in 2006 when we were at the peak of the market. We experienced that, didn't we? Yeah, so I think that it's always a great time if you're buying for long term. If you're buying for short term, it may not. I mean, who knows? We can't predict the market. Any other thoughts on the market before we get into some of narrowing down the best cities?
I did see a builder listing in Frisco lately. Just last week, their price went down.
Oh, right.
That's new.
So I did in one community in Frisco, so I was a little shocked.
Yes.
But so maybe it's a little shift.
And also, don't
A healthy shift.
and don't let the market scare you when you see a home sitting on the market a little bit longer, because homes when, I mean, traditionally, we don't sell home on a weekend. An average home on a healthy market takes at least 30 days to sell. More, generally even more than that.
Right.
So just because a home sits there a weekend or two does not mean
It's a
it's a
bad
bad
home.
home. That just means it's a normal market. And actually selling a home in 2 weeks is a good time frame. Especially when you move in the luxury market, homes will sit there for like 2 or 3 months sometimes, and
Yes,
it doesn't
that's
mean
true.
anything. And the really, really expensive home, even 6 months before you sell a house like that.
Yeah, it's
So-
been an exciting market
Yeah.
for those listing agents of luxury homes.
Absolutely.
That
So,
normally would take 6 months.
yeah. So it could be deceiving that now you see a house, excuse me, sitting there for a week or so, and you think, oh, there's something wrong with the area of the house. No, it's just a good opportunity probably to get in right now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So real quick, we are working on our audio, so next week, I know the audio's bad, but next week we will have it all revamped for you. I'm hoping to have some extra bells and whistles as well to help you see on a map, but we'll have to get our tech experts on that. Also, if you see that there's a little party going on, it's because we finally reached 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that's a nice plug. I rarely tell people to subscribe. I don't even tell people to subscribe. Maybe that's my problem. But feel free to subscribe if you haven't.
I'll do it for Dana, hit the like button below.
I feel if you like the content, you will. So anyway, all right. So let's shift into some of the questionnaires that we received. And actually, real quick, are there any questions yet? No questions. Okay, that's okay. Let's talk about these questionnaires. We had a few. Who do you have over here?
Okay, so I have
This
a
is
family moving from Florida. They want to be near a lake. They think they want to be near Capel because of his job, like transfer him there. So within the price range of $350,000 to $500,000, he's looking for a recommendation.
Okay.
They have a little boy, so they want him to be safe somewhere, good schools potentially. So I'm thinking, well, Capel and the DFW is right in the middle too, so that's perfect. We could be anywhere. So Louisville, Carrollton, if he wants to be really close. He wants to be near a lake, so Lake Louisville is right
Yes.
there. Lake Grapevine is also right there.
Yes.
And Grapevine is also good, if you're willing to go a little older homes within under 500,000, I think there's a lot of potential if you're open to 20 years or more, I think.
Yeah, we say old, and that's kind
Yeah,
of relative
That's
for some
true,
people.
that's true.
So if age doesn't matter,
Right.
we think old is in the 70s, right?
Correct.
70s to 90s.
Yes. And a lot of you guys are saying 10 years or newer, which is great, but I think you're losing out on a lot of opportunities with older homes. Oftentimes they're upgraded, you know, they've
Yeah,
been
that's true.
updated. So those homes won't even show on MLS if you don't let us open the parameters.
Yes, and there is something, I know that many people are concerned with energy efficiency. And so one thing that we do in real estate is if you like a home, we can request what in a normal market, a little more average market. We can request utility bills, right? To
Right.
see where they're landing. So if energy efficiency is a concern with the older properties, then now that we're not even at a balanced market yet, but now that we're getting a little breather, we can request those utility bills on those older houses. Because Grapevine,
Right.
I would definitely say Grapevine.
Flower Mound is
Flower Mound is
fantastic. If you want to be close to the
beautiful.
lake and close to Capel where he wants to work.
Yes.
So I mean, there's great opportunities, and I love all
Yeah.
the cities.
I would say my number one spot over there would be Flower Mound.
And if you're worried about energy efficiency, not sure about Florida, but if you're moving from California, you at the same usage for the house, you'll be already at 1/3 of your so that's also like that. You don't have to worry too much because you'd be like using the same but saving 1/3 on your bill. Like 2/3 actually, you pay like 1/3.
Yeah, yeah.
So definitely, and I did the numbers, so I know for sure. I saw a bill.
Who else? Ms. Kay.
Yeah, I have somebody that's looking for up to 400,000, really in the main areas of Dallas. They need to be within 25 to 30 minutes of Plano. And they're actually coming here from Germany. I love my overseas clients. They're the best. And I would say just, really you have a little bit of opportunity here, especially if age is not a restrictive item for you. There are some neighborhoods, even in Frisco, that you can find for right around 400,000, which could be a great opportunity, especially getting in now when the market's a little bit slower, where you're not gonna be running into those multiple offers. I would say, again, without age restrictions, there is McKinney, there is Melissa, certain areas of Salina. I think Prosper's just hit that point where it's a little too expensive, but Aubrey, even Allen, there are some areas in Allen where you can definitely find some more affordable homes right in that $400,000 price point, and that's a steal, especially if the market goes back up. If you get it now.
400,000 in Frisco is prime. You're right. They are older, so they're early 90s, back to 91, 92. Some of them have HOAs, some of them don't. Had clients who wanted to do an Airbnb because Frisco doesn't have any restrictions in that area
Yes.
right now, and it's 5 minutes from the Stonebriar Mall, 5 minutes from 121, 5 minutes from downtown Frisco where the FC Dallas Stadium is. So there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to that. Our next dream home questionnaire, we have Lori, and so Lori's looking to stay under 200,000, close to the airport. So she wants to be 40 minutes within DFW Airport. So when we want to stay in a lower price range but closer to the middle of the Metroplex, we need to go a little bit older. So we're looking in places like Arlington, South Irving, Grand Prairie, maybe Richland Hills, Hearst, Euless, some of those areas. And you can get a 2-bedroom townhome under 200,000. There are opportunities out there. Now we are increasing. So everything under 200,000 these days in the Metroplex, especially when you're close to being in the middle and near the airport, is going to be pretty competitive, but still within reach. And so back to Robert's point, now is a great time. I like how you mentioned that a typical market, maybe you have a week or two to decide, because sometimes you have questions. You want to know things like the utility bills and what your average lawn maintenance is going to cost every week. And when you're in a market with 15 offers, it's really hard to even get the listing agent's attention to entertain your questions, because they already have 3 cash offers that are high in the sky. So it doesn't matter about your little question. So as real as that is, you know. So right now it's a healthy time to at least get list price or market value, I should say. So that was another questionnaire we had rolling this week.
Okay, yeah, I have another one for under 200. They're looking a little more in the country areas. And so I would say, especially if you want that hometown feel under 200, I'd say maybe in some pretty good schools, Azle, Boyd. I don't know where the schools are in Boyd, but I love the area of Boyd. That might be an option because it's actually a quicker drive to the city than I thought. Any other country towns you can think of?
Midlothian.
Ooh, Midlothian, yes, that. Midlothian is one of my favorite country towns, and it has really high rankings for schools. So Midlothian's great.
Crum and Justin, depending on where specifically, you might be able to find under 200.
If you can invest in a property in Justin, I remember selling properties under, like, at 125,000 in Roanoke,
Oh, yeah.
and it was like a first-time home buyer, and it was a stretch. And now they are banking. So I feel the same about Justin. I feel like Justin is that opportunity that you can find a home under 200, and in 10 years you're banking.
Well, and in the last 20 years, Justin has grown a whole bunch, and Crum is starting to now grow. So,
Oh, Crum.
yeah, because Crum is between Ponder and Sanger.
Yeah.
Right? And should I come
Here's
up
Miss
here?
Katie.
So Justin has already experienced their growth period. I mean, they're still growing, right? But 20 years ago when my parents bought out there, it was insane, and there was nothing, and now there's a ton of stuff. So Crum is starting to experience that, and I've even seen people posting on the Denton moms groups and things like that, saying where's a great spot to live, and people are saying Crum, but respectfully don't move here because we want to keep it rural. So that's a really good indication of people truly are moving out there.
Okay,
Things
and they're
are
loving
developing.
it out there.
And they have a lot of new construction opportunities in Crum, not for
Okay.
under 200 though.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And then Julia, you have a couple?
I do have a couple, yes. Hi, yes, so I do have a family moving here for a job opportunity. So they're still working through possibly getting the job here, so they're not exactly sure if they are gonna move here, but they are exploring, and they're looking for a home up to 350,000. They do wanna, you were specific about the area, and that is very doable. You had discussed, North Richland Hills and Arlington, and so I definitely know that we can accommodate you. And help with the home.
Under what in?
350,000, but
Okay.
but you all are okay with a fixer-upper, you're not afraid of an older home. So, and you did mention North Richland Hills, and even when I was reading your dream home questionnaire, my brain was going toward that area, before I even saw it.
We
So,
like North
yes.
Richland
It's
Hills.
nice.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very centrally located. It has a wide range of housing opportunity, right? So you can find a home at 250, but I would say they don't go into the millions, but there's some really nice higher end neighborhoods in there as well.
Yeah, right. And even Bedford is another option as well.
Oh,
And
Watauga
so-
might be a place in
That's what I was thinking.
Why did we think of Watauga for number
It's
2?
right at two
It's
now.
right at
Oh, it's right at 2, dang it,
Yeah.
okay.
I was gonna say, Watauga's gone up.
But-
Yeah.
What time
Yeah.
is it? Because
It's right next
it's
to our
actually,
The location is
actually, it's squeezed around
Yeah.
really nice cities, so I
Yeah.
think it's one, if you're looking at home equity appreciation, probably would be one to
Yeah.
appreciate the most.
It's a really good area for
Absolutely.
rental properties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if you're an investor,
Watauga.
Watauga's the place.
Because it used to be like 150, 175, now we're in the 200, 225 range. And especially they just redid Roof Snow, one of the main roads is really nice now. They're putting in some newer businesses, they just redid the bowling alley out there, so they're starting to improve the area some.
Some cool little splash pads for kids.
And some properties do look a little, grayish, when you have the chain link fence, things like that.
Yep.
But again, it's an opportunity to get in a great time, and it's certainly developing. Enrique, I forgot to mention the one about country. I think a lot of people don't mention Weatherford area.
Oh,
The
Weatherford.
Weatherford down there, it's a
Yes.
big area, so if you wanna be close to shopping, retail, hospital, everything you need, you have Weatherford.
That's
And then you
true.
can be just around within like 10, 15 minutes, and you have very good opportunities at a fair price, very good price.
Yes.
And it does feel like country.
There's
That-
also 2 really great school districts in Weatherford. So
Absolutely.
there's Brock ISD and Keister ISD, which
Oh, it's
are.
ranked high.
They're
Okay.
ranked very
And
high.
then we still have Lido ISD as an opportunity. And,
Uh-huh. Yeah, Aubrey's a great place
So,
too, so
yeah,
that's
what-
on the other side,
correct, so
right?
Weatherford, we're talking about west of
Forward.
Forward.
Okay, let me comment on Weatherford real fast, because I grew up in Azle, and Weatherford, if you want a good Texan town,
Mhm.
Weatherford is your Texas to the core town. You have a town square, you have all the convenience of shopping, and if you look from Weatherford to Fort Worth along Highway 20, there's a lot of really nice subdivisions, and those cities are developing. You have Aledo, you have, is it Hudson Oaks? What's it called down there? I don't know, but there's a bunch of neighborhoods that are starting to develop that are really nice. So if you want to be a little bit outside of the city, but you still want to be in that professional environment, that's probably a great section over there. Let's talk a little bit about, we talked a lot about Fort Worth today. What about Dallas?
Well, there's Aubrey that we were just about
Oh
to
yeah, Aubrey.
start talking about, but Aubrey is great. I think that the prices have gone up a little bit there, but when you're right there by Aubrey, Salina, Crossroads, just that full little section over there between Prosper and Denton, right off of 380, I think that has a lot of opportunity over there. If you're looking at new construction at a more affordable
Lots of
price,
infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot.
Share a little bit about Salina, because I haven't talked about Salina on the videos yet,
It's blowing up.
but it's blowing up. It's just north of Prosper. And so
Yeah.
what do you think the opportunity, not talking about just any price point, or maybe let's talk about the price point of
Yeah.
Salina, what you can get for your money there.
So just like how Frisco is the new version of Plano, Salina is going to be the new version of Prosper. So Prosper, even though it's not all the way built out yet, it is pretty established. They have a lot of master plan communities in there, but I heard up in Salina, a developer has already bought a piece of land, this 1,800 acres that they're gonna be
It's like a
developing as a
billion-dollar
master
development.
plan community. So it's gonna be huge up there.
Whoa.
On top of that, you have the Dallas North Toll Road that's gonna be extended up into Prosper in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's gonna be a major thoroughfare and cut down your commute quite a bit. And then you have what I call the Frisco 5. So Frisco, Prosper, Salina, they're all top 5% school districts. So when you talk school districts and you notice most of the north gravitates to that, anywhere you have good school district is going to be a city that's pretty well established because people want to live in a good school district. So if your price range, say you want to stay under 500, but you want to be near Frisco and Prosper's too tight for you, you can't get in anymore, let's look at Salina.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
That's nice.
but Salina does have a different feeling too, right? So you are, they have beautiful subdivision, but then you leave your subdivision and you see fields.
Yep.
That's
So you're
true.
gonna be driving through fields, so you are like, so if you like that, that's perfect for you. And some people, we send some client up there and they come back and they're like, that's a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And some other people, they love it. So it's gonna be, you're gonna have to feel it and see it, but the opportunity is definitely there.
Right, well, 5 years from now, there's
Right.
gonna be
Yeah.
more retail that's coming.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you're willing to get in now, I think it's a great investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember our first home, and we drove 10 minutes up Beach Street, and we thought, this is so far away. It's in the boonies. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
Lots of fields.
What? Now?
There was cows out there too.
That's how old we
Beach.
are.
But
Wow.
you remember when Prosper was literally nothing?
Nothing.
And
Yeah.
it gave me the kind of a similar feel to what Salina is now,
Absolutely.
where there's a ton of fields and everything. But now we were just talking about it, communities like Woodsaw Ranch, where 2-3 years ago, you could probably get in for $400,000, $500,000. And they increased so tremendously in equity over the past couple of years. You could have that same thing in Salina, so don't discount it just because it feels a little bit more rural now. It is definitely not gonna stay
It's
that
that
way.
saying, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that's true. And they're building it. They're putting their money where their mouth is right there. So yes. Okay, very good. Any questions that come through by chance?
Well, we had two from last week that we'd like to follow up on. Someone asked about, is Crawley good for young families?
Okay, so Crowley, their school district, the rankings on schools are not as high as some of the surrounding neighborhoods. I'd say maybe Burleson or Lido for school purposes. Joshua, yeah.
Joshua's a good one, that is close to Crowley.
And then the thing about Crowley is this, if you look down Chisholm Trail, now Chisholm Trail is a toll road, so you have to pay. However, when you pay for something, and so all of the Chisholm Trail neighborhoods that are going in there, they're developing very nicely. There's a lot of new things down there in Crowley. So I don't know that those schools will be like that forever. In fact, some of those new neighborhoods are probably, you'll start seeing them rank higher. So when you say family, it depends, are schools important to you? But I can see if you're looking at a neighborhood along Chisholm Trail, those are gonna be going up in value. So that's kind of my thoughts.
It also depends on what stage of life you are, because when we say some school districts are not so good, sometimes, we specifically, the high schools is really what drives a lot of
Yes.
the rating down. When you look at the elementary, so if you're very young kids and you just say, I'm gonna be here for 5, 6, 7 years, and you have kindergarten, elementary, you'll be totally fine, because most elementary school in Texas are doing pretty well. And then it gets, when you get to the middle school, maybe you wanna get to the district that's a little bit better. To add to that, there are plenty of, first of all, we haven't got recent data on school district because of COVID and all that.
That is very
So
true.
we are relying on almost 2 years old data.
That
if
is
not
very
even 3.
true.
So that, I bet you, once we're gonna get the new data, a lot of those districts that right now we think are not so good are actually gonna be ranked much higher. And the other way around, the one that maybe were top, because of all the people moving in, they might be a little bit overrun.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come probably down a little bit. One thing that comes to mind to me that I always was not considering was Little Helm. Little Helm is a beautiful place to be, and there's a lot of new construction of very fair price. And the school district, it's kind of in the middle range, but I think that one has more people moving and
I
requires high school,
agree.
he's gonna go top school this week too.
I absolutely agree with that.
I
And
do too.
I do want to talk about the school district because a lot of our clients are discounting the entire
Big picture.
ISD.
Yeah.
Like they'll go on and say Louisville ISD, oh, I don't like that because it's a B. But,
Yeah.
but please don't discount the individual campuses. Like Robert was saying, the individual elementary school that we went very, very high. So, I'm.
All high school, you're talking about Louisville ISD, Flower Mound will be part of
Flower
the
Mound
list.
list, yes.
But yet those high schools are
So
top
I'm
rated.
encouraging them just to look beyond just the entire ISD, just don't rule out the whole county.
Yeah, and I always like to say that schooling, it's a partnership, so yes, it's important, but we've homeschooled, we've done public school, and we've done private school, and the takeaway from all of that, because they were in great schools, both the private and the public, the big takeaway is parenting. Like at the end of the day, I think the majority of teachers really care and they want your student to succeed. Do we have a few crazies? Sure, but the majority do want them to succeed. So I think that you can be in a 20, 30 percentile, maybe even 50 percentile, and really be okay with your students, with your kids, so. All right, I think it's time. Do you have any final?
I have one more about.
One more about North Lakes, that they were asking about the area of North Lake.
Well, what about North Lake?
So, North Lake, I kind of compare North Lake. North Lake is a little advanced, North Lake and Argyle compared to Aubrey. And the reason that I compare those is because they're kind of in the gap of the Metroplex. So, once you start going out that way, that's about the 5 or 10 mile stretch on 380 up near Aubrey or North Lake and Argyle, where you can actually look and still see plains. So you look to your left, you look to your right, and you can actually see grass, valleys, looks like Texas, until you get to Denton. In Denton, I don't only consider it a college town, but there is Texas Women's University, University of North Texas up there, so you will have more college kids. They do have their own shopping centers and their own malls up there, and the homes in Denton are a little bit older, but that's where we have room to grow in the north. So of course we keep pushing up that way, and we're gonna close that gap as
Yeah,
we
we
keep
will.
growing.
Yes,
We will. My opinion on North Lake is, I think it's a beautiful area. It's going to be booming in the next, now in 5 years. Like right now, it's already booming, and you get a lot of home for your money. You get these beautiful master plan communities with community is the intent, because Hillwood develops with community. So you're gonna see your food trucks, you're going to see all the community events. A community environment, think small town, only you're in a community. North Lake is it. The complaint that I hear over and over is that there's no grocery store right there. You have to drive 15 minutes to a grocery store. They go into Flower Mound for that. That's the number one complaint, but I'm certain a grocery store is coming around the corner.
It's already on its way.
So much there.
Yeah, so it won't be very long, and it's already booming, but I think it's going to be a big hot spot.
And if you work like for Charles Schwab in Westlake, it's only
Yes.
15 minutes.
Oh,
that corridor.
yeah.
So in Westlake, the Fidelity is coming, is there.
Yes.
Deloitte is there, so a lot of businesses are. So for North Lake, I think it's fantastic.
Even downtown Fort Worth's only about 30, 35 minutes. Downtown Dallas, you can get 45, 50 minutes depending on traffic, so.
Yeah.
And also top rated school. So
Top
Yeah.
rated schools.
Very
The negative, I do have a negative, is all the freaking construction on 35 right now. However, we were just talking about this driving through all that construction on 35 is a pain, but I am happy to see that it's full of construction workers. Like they are actively, it's changing every day, getting better every day. Versus a few years ago, you'd see one guy on a tractor and you're like, when are you gonna complete this road? Like one guy, really? So I think that it'll be finished sooner rather than later, and once they finish 35, it'll be really nice. So that's my only one complaint.
I think we have time for one more question. They asked about Lantana.
Lantana.
And Flower
Well,
Mound.
it's beautiful. We kind of lump it in with Flower Mound. It's gorgeous.
Lantana is one of my favorite communities. I sold a house in there, and it is just,
It's a dream.
feels- Yeah.
It's a dream.
It's a
It feels
dream. It's like a
resort.
dream in a dream.
Yes, it does feel like we're resort feel. As soon as you leave Lantana, you just have these longhorns, you have these really large ranches, but they're like multi-million-dollar ranches. They're really,
There
really
are
high
hills
end.
out there and
Yes.
more trees out there than you would say in the majority of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that section, Argyle, Lantana, Flower Mountain, I
Love it.
love it because there are more trees up there. And then
Yeah,
real quick,
yeah.
I
the
do,
last,
I've got a really good one here too from Evan and Stephanie. Hi. So you all are not quite sure where you want to land in Texas, so I'm gonna just put a plug in for an amazing website that we have. So definitely check out our website. You did mark like, Austin and San Antonio and then the Tyler area. So, Dana Pollard Group, her website is incredible. So that's a really good place to go ahead and, go to and look at some of these different areas too and get some information. And, but yeah, so we're here to help you. I tell
thoughts on Tyler?
Tyler, yeah.
Hey, what are your thoughts on Tyler?
It's up there. It's a country town. It is a country town, so.
I heard yeehaw!
Miranda Lambert.
Nice, beautiful
Azalea
trails.
trails.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Tyler,
yeah.
during the spring azalea, people go all over.
They're known for their flowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was roses or tulips though.
It's
Azaleas
roses.
too.
Roses,
Yeah.
okay.
Back in the day, when you went to Tyler, Texas, they had stands along the road and you would pull in there and you could actually grab roses for free.
Oh,
Aw.
my
Not even kidding, and they were so beautiful, they were like the miniature ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day.
Oh, nice.
We had a client that said she wanted to do that. We're gonna go see them today.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I wonder if she did that. Alright, very good. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want to have your questionnaire mentioned on next week's Texas Tuesday Live, then fill out the Dream Home Questionnaire. There's a button that says, hey, would you like it to be referenced? And, I don't know, I guess that's it. So we will see you guys next week and let us know, email us if you have any questions. Alright, have a great day.